1-0. And speaking of, we are loaded in to game number 1. In the Northeast, we have the red Terran player. He is Special.
Channel heart for this man. His name is Cham.
Paolo, can you think of an emote? If people are spamming Dorito for Juanito, do we have, like, can we spam clams for Cham? Is that it? We Ham, maybe?
I said spam. Isn't spams? I thought maybe there was
spam.
A
Oh,
spam
just
emote.
spam in general. Just spam for Cham.
Spam?
That's
Spam for Cham? Spam. Oh, you just type anything and you say, oh, that's spam. Cham.
Yes. Yeah.
That would work.
There you go. I don't know. I guess that's kind of, it almost takes the fun out of it, how easy that one is.
Indeed.
I regret asking that question. All right. Well, Cham does start up 1-0, even though it's game number 1. In case anybody's got scratching their heads, he did win against Special in the upper bracket in the winners finals. Thus, since he didn't lose a single match getting here in the bracket, the reward is that he doesn't have to play on exactly the same even footing, just because that's basically his extra life, is that one map win. That was his extra life that he did not end up using throughout the tournament. So just in case anybody out there was curious as to why it says 1-0, even though I said it's game number 1.
Yes, indeed. And it's going to be a very standard opening for this game number 1. Both players are going to be playing kind of to their comforts at the moment. So, yeah, pretty standard stuff. Reaper will go out. There is no SCV Scout, I guess, is the one thing to note. If Special thought that Cham was more capable of early pulls and being sneaky with his links, oh, never mind. He's accounting for that as well. So, yeah.
Yeah, all right. Well, how do you feel about this map as a Zerg player against Terran Cats? You got to really dig deep into my brain in that TVT. I got to give a whole TED talk on Terran versus Terran, so I'm curious how you feel about this map, the third base he's going for, anything that stands out to you that you love about Everdream for ZVT.
Yeah, I think it can be more timing based than a lot of maps. I think that tank pushes in particular are strong on this map because there is so many ledges and so many different high and low grounds, especially with that third that's being taken down. There is a low ground that can be easily sieged with tanks. So I like that, and I like that the fourth is kind of an open battleground. The fourth being this or the forward fourth. There's two potential fourths as well, which is great. It adds to the map being more dynamic. You could even argue at the north of the fifth is, also a potential fourth. It's a cool map.
Yeah. This one's we've been playing out on Everdream for quite a while. It's survived some map pool movements so far. There is the Fusion Core for Special starting up, so a little bit of a Hellion Reaper action to kick things off, but going for that big bruiser potential damage. And out of Cham, do we see anything that looks like it's going to be able to smack this down? I'm not entirely sure what the direction is, because he's getting that third up, but I feel like usually we're seeing layers by now.
Actually, Special going for a ramp by. There's only 4 Zerglings on the top of the ramp, so the rest of the Zerglings reinforcing a little bit late. Okay, it looks like Cham should be okay. You need to pull those links back. Nice job. Need to make it more difficult for the Hellions to move on creep and buy yourself time so that it's not as easy to just dive in once those Zerglings are dealt with. Cham with a very nice defense.
Did he see the Fusion Core with the Overlord that just died? That's my only question. No. Okay, well, the lair is only just now starting, so that battlecruiser is going to come out at a time where I don't believe it can really be punished if it teleports in, since the Spire build time is very close to the same amount of time as that teleport cooldown. If he just jumps in, there is a potential for him to get some serious damage done without too much risk of loss, especially since those Hellions would have seen that there wasn't a lair in the main base or the natural when he went for that dive. So getting a couple link kills is nice, the drone is nice, the information is nice, but he didn't really do a tremendous amount of damage, right?
No, I feel good about Cham's position, and yeah, I mean, there's not much that Cham can do to maybe punish this battlecruiser in the sense that it's going to be very difficult to kill it, and in the sense that it's going to be very difficult to kill the Terran. But at the same time, Special is punishing himself with this very late command center that's going to be dropped sometime soon. And Cham at the same time, if he can take little to no damage from this battlecruiser, will be in a fantastic economic position.
Yeah, so the potential now for magic to happen. Look at that. Tries to get that drone, by the way, at that gold gas base. Hellions deflected pretty well. Battlecruiser is here, teleported behind the natural expansion mineral line. Is going to get 2 drones, a little bit of bruising onto the queen, but since the Spore is not in range, I mean, you can kind of just sit here and tank it. The Spire is only just now started, so if he ends up needing to tuck the BC, if he can tuck it, then he should be able to get out whenever mutas or corruptors come out, whichever he decides to go for to deal with this. Every single drone kill here, though, is really, really nice because Cham wants to get that momentum going. He wants to get a little snowball. No transfuse on that queen, Cats. Nice pickup for Special.
Yeah, a little blunder here and there. I mean, even on the positioning of those Spores, the way they're positioned is or was not covering for this very common battlecruiser position, especially exactly for the reason that we're seeing, right? Because it can juggle between the 2 bases, and neither Spore was in range to deny the poke from the battlecruiser. So Cham ends up losing 10 workers. That's a little bit too much.
Yeah, that's definitely a happy spot to be in for the Terran with the BC. That Spire is about 15, 20 seconds away from finishing, but the teleport is off cooldown, so he can just come in here, grab another drone or 2, and definitely just make sure you don't lose the BC. Teleport. Oh my God, come on. Well, that's a massive pickup for Cham. I really, 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 really don't like what just happened there for Special, but he has this stim follow-up crazy fast before anything could actually really come out of that Spire. He does have a bunch of Banelings coming out, but he's only on 2 bases with this.
Yeah, but this is pretty fast Baneling speed for Cham, and like you said, yeah, Special is just on 2 bases. Losing that BC is a huge blunder just to get those extra 2 or 3 drones in the end there. Cham has to be careful here. He just needs to hold. He doesn't need to overextend off of creep, please.
Yeah, you gotta be so careful in this situation. I mean, the Marines are starting to stim pretty hard, but a few more medevacs do show up. They're gonna bring that energy. And he wants to get, the siege on the low ground here, wants to get the tanks wedged into a safe spot where he can push from the north side of that 3rd base. Keep in mind the Roach Warren is there too, so if he ever wanted to use that, maybe he was worried about the possibility of mech when he built it. That's going to be taken off the board. I don't think it's as important versus Bio. There's plenty of Banelings and some opportunity here if he can reposition these units well enough.
Yeah, I mean, those Marines are very well, very deep on creep, so they should have been engaged at some point. Instead, Cham is losing a lot of these queens, trying to set up for a huge surround, a huge wipe of this army. But look at how spread Special is. I don't even know that a surround is the right call against this sort of spread.
No, it's so difficult too, right? Because is Cham 100% aware that it's 2 bases, right? Does he realize that there's not a whole lot else behind this if he can just stop it?
He is now. I mean, he is now, right? Like, he is evacuating this 3rd, being okay with that, and taking another 3rd and distant mining. That is a great sign, I think, for Cham to have realized that it is 2 base. And if he can stop this attack, he will win the game.
Yeah, a big opportunity here for Cham to try and get the upset. That's not a wall off at the natural, so those Lings actually jump in onto those Marines. There is a siege tank in position there as well. Yeah, I know I'm excited too, Luke, as the Mutalisks are going to finally come out, but there's a pretty tremendous number of Marines outside his base. Does he have enough Banelings to actually deal with this?
It all comes down to where the engagement happens. The creep is so important. So this creep connecting the natural and the main base, he has to set up his units to come at a different... Well, no, do not go off creep. What is he doing? This is... Okay, he's gonna catch a few of these Marines not being paid attention to, actually.
Wow. I didn't think he was gonna get those. Like, that should be an easy pickup and then pull over towards the tanks, but what an interesting strategical decision for Special coming out of here. This seems like the ultimate... Like, the battlecruiser was a bait. Like, he's like, yeah, build all these Spores, rush for a Spire, maybe get some Corruptors. And unfortunately, the Spire was... Weirdly enough, it was bad for Special that the Spire came in as late as it did, because if he had been able to force out anything else but those Banelings with that first Marine attack coming, I think he could have just bopped him really hard here.
By the way, he can engage those Marines. He can turn around and kill them without losing a single Muta, I think. Third players are very hesitant to micro small numbers of Muta back, like individually. I think it's just because it's a force of habit to run away against the Marines, but in situations like this, it really helps to know when you can take engagements. Those Marines at the front are super overstimmed. At least the Mutas have delayed Special considerably. This is exactly what Cham needs. He has now 4 bases.
Yeah. So this is just so nice. I love what you mentioned about the way that he was willing to kind of give that other base up to keep what he has alive. However, there's still not really creep connecting these two expansions, and it's a bit of a choke point with tanks on the high ground.
Yeah, I think he needs to do the same thing again. Just relocate to the other side of the map. This is such a difficult engagement to take unless Special overextends. This is a huge surround on the side of Cham. The Banelings collapsing onto everything. It looks like he has enough. And with this, he will, I think, secure the number 2 game, essentially. This puts him at a huge advantage.
Yeah, this is actually just insane, because Special's really only option in this situation is what? Try to float one of his bases over now as they start to mine out. Gets a good couple of volleys with that tank onto the Banes, but the Mutas continue to chase the Medivacs. He can't really stop the fight because the Banelings are there. They crash onto the Marines. There's even a few roaches mixed into the fray over here. And while, yes, he's going to push him back from the natural door, it's a 2-base Terran versus a 4-base Zerg. And, you know, Cats, I think as the Zerg expert, I think it's fair for me to try and jump the gun on this one and tell you that that's a pretty good spot for the Zerg.
Absolutely, yeah. And even being able to have enough and to take that engagement on one of the most annoying positions in the map, I was okay with Cham just forfeiting that position once again and moving over to the other side just because it's so difficult to engage up that cliff. But that is the advantage that he had accrued up until that point. And now having wiped that army, I mean, his advantage is tenfold that. So it's very difficult to imagine a universe where Special comes back here.
Yeah, this is a really, really tough spot. The only thing he has really going for him is he has this pretty stupid high medevac count, but he doesn't really have the units for the medevacs to support them. When each medevac has its own personal marine to heal, it doesn't go very well, and thus Cham picks up the first map and his second point in this final. Well, Cats, if all the games are going to look like that, we may see a dethroning of Juanito in the Latin America scene, huh?
Absolutely. I think this was Special somewhat playing out of his comfort zone, though. And maybe using the first game to tell Cham, hey, like, don't look to abuse macro against me or something, like you're being too greedy, or send a message out there of some sort, because I don't see Special go for 2 bases all-ins very often. It's like the game felt a little bit like I feel like when I'm watching Future play, you know, like 4 base and 5 base Terran where he's brilliant in his element, but maybe this is not it.
Yeah, it's interesting. I want to now I'm like, man, where was I diving into the games of the last series that they played? Because I'm like, does Special just feel like he has to do this really heavy aggression? Is he struggling against Muta openers when he plays macro? I don't, I'm wondering what's going through his mind right now, because I feel like that's quite an unusual type of strategy, and I can see it working against a lot of Zergs who just slam down the Muta key. Right? Like when they see that BC and that Spire finishes, and like, all right, I'm going to push it back. I've got Spores Queens, should be fine. And then boom, 20 Marines kill everything. But he had just enough available that he could get the Banelings. And as you pointed out, a really fast Baneling speed too. So honestly, I'm just really impressed by Cham to be able to make that read, or whatever it was that he's like, yeah, no, I've got this. I'm not going to make the wrong play and die to this 2-base mass bio push.
And that's in spite of losing 11 workers to the BC, right? Something that he knew about that was technically accounted for. I mean, he had the Spores. They were just 1 hex off, maybe each, from denying at least 5 or 6 drone kills, right? Which would have put him in an even better position to start off. So, yeah, very impressive stuff by Cham here. Looking very strong against a Special that, in particular in TVC, historically, he's fantastic. As of late, he's been defeating some of the best Koreans. I mean, he lives with a Zerg who's top 10 on the Korean ladder in Armani. So
that'll help.
He's definitely no slouch in the matchup. So I don't think it's an issue of Special coming into this thinking, oh, I gotta respect Cham, more so than maybe he thought Cham got away with too much greed or something of the sort and was trying to make sure that doesn't happen again. But as it stands, the message has not been sent.
Yeah. Well, this is, I mean, it's just kind of crazy, right? Like, he's up 2-0. The opportunity is right there in front of him to seize it. I have to wonder if he's going to start getting a little bit of nerves going into the next map, or possibly if he gets up 3-0. Honestly, I'm like, that's a point where you're definitely feeling the pressure, right? It wouldn't be the first time that Special actually made a reverse sweep in one of these LATAM tournaments either. He's tripped up before and came back with a vengeance when everything was actually, at the final match point. So I'm
I
just
mean, if you're
really
gonna
loving
get
this
nervous, if you're gonna get anxious, fearful, or any type of emotion have spawn out of you that relies on the future, it's this map because it's such an uncommon map. On the top left-hand side, it's special.
Now we have in the bottom right, leading 2-0 now, he is Cham.
Point being, I guess, that fear spawns from uncertainty, Nate. And in this particular map, I mean, so many people have it vetoed. No one is really a huge expert on the subject that is Submarine, right? We've barely seen it play out throughout this season. And look at this. I mean, Special is going to be the one throwing a wrench in that very, very early Reaper play. I kind of love it.
Yeah, that is a really nice thing that also gives you the ability to put this pressure on without really risking a counterattack, because obviously with the 2 barracks being put in the natural wall, he's not really that far away from just putting one more building on below that second barracks, and then you can't really counterattack with lings, right? So for the Terran player perspective, this type of opening, it feels a little bit weird because you don't have a main base ramp, but you've got a giant wall at your front that pretty much nullifies any early aggression that the Zerg player could really do, because they just, you know, if you're trying to do any like fast pool or lings or anything, well, first of all, Reapers will clap them. And second of all, you've got a giant wall at your natural, so you can't deny the natural command center from being built while the Reapers are poking you.
Yeah, and that's why I'm curious what the follow-up is going to be, because I think the obvious choice for the Zerg player here will be something like roaches, and I think that Cham is particularly adept with those. He's going to scout the double racks and still hide a drone for a third. This is somewhat surprising. Is he going to take that third? I would rather he didn't, because he's going to need units for defense here. But maybe if he wants to respond to the Reapers with Zerglings, he feels like he needs the larva? Question mark? I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's awkward. Every single ling that Special kills in this situation will be incredibly important, and thus far he has not gotten any. And the Queen is going to pop right as the second Reaper shows up, and I think the Queen can deflect the Reapers, but might grab a drone, gets one. That's actually really nice to start off, though.
Yeah, it's something. And there is that third base being taken by Cham. This is extremely surprising to me. That's going to cut the funding to defense against these Reapers. And I think if Special chooses to continue to reinforce, they could very well get out of control. So let's see what ends up happening here. Special already with a drone lead, but this could be dangerous. Sometimes they get stuck and you don't get a choice to jump back.
Yeah, you got to be careful the way that pathing works. It gets really awkward, especially if the lings stop moving. StarCraft is kind of weird like that with the hitboxes if units are on hold position or stop or attacking or moving.
I learned that from Fear Dragon. Apparently, whenever a unit attacks, its hitbox changes in size.
Yeah, that was an interesting video I know you put out about like the Dark Templar versus the Zealot with the wall offs and whatnot. That the DT seems to become a little bit smaller when it's making that move.
It also happens to adepts. Yeah, you can kind of
it's one of the things with like when you see people force units through like lings or queens, like Hellions or just a lot of lings. It's a little tick rate magic with StarCraft, because the game, I think the game technically refreshes internally like 12 hertz or something like that. So if the units are moving really, really, really fast and you're spamming a crazy amount of commands, you can actually force them through walls of units sometimes because they're smaller when they move. But he lets the lings inside. Most of the Reapers are actually still alive. So pretty tremendous amount of larva burned there for not too much gain. If he loses any SCVs though, it gets awkward, but pretty good hold so far from Special actually out of this ling counterattack.
Yeah, I'm again really surprised. Oh, there's the Roach Warren actually. So this is actually pretty cool, because with the barracks being positioned as they are, it is very difficult to imagine that the Terran player will make the reactor or a tech lab out of it, right? No add-ons will likely be made, especially if they know that there's roaches on the way. So, oh, another little run by. Not gonna accomplish much of anything, it looks like. Oh, wow. Nice micro. Saves the Hellion there. But yeah, roaches really are now being produced from Cham. And I like that defensively, but also potentially offensively. At the same time, Special is accounting for that with Banshees of his own. Do you think we'll see Mech as a transition from him?
I feel like it kind of has to be with this setup. because he's still cranking out reactored Hellions and he's got the armory right. But what's really weird about this is like this attack has just an odd amount of potential because it's just unusual to see this many Reapers. And he can try to use the grenades to maybe bounce individual roaches into the range of the Hellbats, but I don't know if I like the Hellbat. I guess the Reapers can run away. Yeah, I was gonna say, if he dropped the Reapers, I actually feel like he could have done some weird stuff in the main base with those. The Hellbats won't be able to fight like the one queen that's in there, right?
This has been
he's going by.
This has been a very impressive defense by Cham, I gotta say, because he got away with basically making the least amount of links that he could have, and he didn't invest into that early Roach Warren, which allowed him to keep up somewhat in economy. And then he transitions into the Roaches perfectly in time for the Hellbats, right? And now he has a pretty strong attack. This Banshee is the only thing that is standing between Cham and victory, quite honestly.
Yeah, he actually got a few biles onto the Banshee too. Almost kills it right there. I mean, if that Banshee dies, it's almost game set, right? He doesn't really have anything else to effectively deal with this. He's going for the command center delay. More Lings coming in. The hard part about this is that the Banshee doesn't really kill the Lings all that quickly. So the Roach Ravager really just needs to deal with the Hellions. If you can get the Banshees, that's great. Obviously, they don't normally just attack air units without using the biles. So nothing is going to be guaranteed in that department. But this was a pretty awesome attack to watch. However, it's not like he's up a tremendous amount of drones over special either, even at the end of it all.
Yeah, that was a really strong hold towards the end of the choke. Like, I was watching, only 9 SCVs end up going down. So it looks like a lot more damage could have been inflicted. A lot of those SCVs are in the red, but ultimately special holds and now has a very strong counterattack with just the 2 Banshees to harass with Cloak and a nice setup back defensively. So Cham is going to have to do some catching up work now, I think.
Yeah, it's going to be difficult because that Spore isn't even done yet, right? So a couple of drones are going to go down here, and that is really going to put Special into a great economic position. One of the Banshees almost gets picked off. He's not quite in range of the Spore, but man, with a 3rd orbital command being done and having such a close worker count at this stage of the game, it's hard not to feel like Special's in a really, really good place. And I like that he's decided to go for bio. I will say his add-ons were really exposed during that last attack, and they're going to continue to be exposed, but I like what I see so far.
Yeah, these Banshees coming in clutch once again against the Roaches. You gotta say, though, very, very, very cool back and forth game where both players seem to have answers to each other in spite of the fact that they are playing against strategies that, you know, don't really work on other maps, and you wouldn't get a lot of experience and to see very often on either side. So impressive.
Yeah, really, really well done so far. I mean, I feel like both players have tried really hard to capitalize on the opportunities that they've given each other. We just haven't really been able to see anybody turn it into a killing blow yet. But now going into quite a few more Roaches, getting the upgrades for those, maybe looking to try and overwhelm this army in the middle of the map or something like that. Don't know how easy that's going to be to do without like creep spread and banelings with speed, but I don't know. Cham maybe feeling like he is kind of being forced to do this too.
Yeah, he only has 3 queens. I wouldn't mind the queens crossing the map if there is an opportunity for that later, because if he's going to be going Roaches like this, these Banshees are going to remain the problem, right? So I wouldn't mind him if he wants to stay low tech and go for a big attack or defense for that matter, him adding queens to actually be able to deal with the Banshees to greater extents, because at the moment that's the thing that would stop him from moving across even if he took a favorable engagement right now.
Yeah, there's quite a few Roaches and Ravagers defending this 3rd base position too on the low ground. He's got the Overlord, by the way, loading the Queens, so he is going to try to push the pedal to the metal now as this attack does get pushed back. Special, does he needs more queens? What he needs.
Yeah, like I think he decides, okay, like this is what I want to do, because it's such a strange game that they are not anticipating actively like the situation that they're in, and just 3 queens against 2 Banshees, still kind of scary. And more scary, perhaps, is the fact that Cham is already banking up some money. He is going to start running short on Larva, and there's no more queens back at home.
Yeah, the counterattack potential is a bit nasty. Those Reapers, I think, gave a little bit of a backstab, or tried to during all of this. Do we have a lot of siege tanks out to try and defend against this? Look at that mining that was denied. A lot of those drones are actually just following another drone, too. Something to be wary of. He's having a bit of a difficult time juggling these the queens versus those Banshees, too.
Yeah, Cham is now all in. The bio of Special tries to retreat back to the safety of his tanks and is holding strong for now. Still many medevacs remaining, and it's looking like a special hold here as Cham tries to force his way through. But yeah, I mean, back at home, like I said, there's not much that he can do. There is no queens remaining. There is no transitioning from this, and GG is called.
Well done. Very well played by Special. Love the build order that he went for. Love the pressure he put on. Almost kind of lost it when Cham made that big attack, but he was able to hold it down and lock it together. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a quick break, and then we will jump into the next map of our LATAM Grand Finals. We'll be right back. And we're back, ready to get at it again with more StarCraft, more video games, more everything that you need in your life, except a dog barking right next to you. Hi, Cats. How are you doing?
I am doing fantastic, Nate. And yeah, this series is quite great, actually. I am pleasantly surprised. I'm just so used to Special winning everything so kind of easily. But Cham is putting a hell of a fight. This is so cool to watch, and what an aptly named map in Eternal Empire.
Yeah. Well, because the game's take an eternity. That's what you mean, right?
Because of the Throne of Mexico, man. Aren't you following, bro? The
Throne of Mexico
is eternal.
Sorry, I'm not too smart. I'm from Pennsylvania. That's my excuse. In the bottom left, the Red Terran. He is Special.
Looking to the throne, the Eternal Emperor. In the top right-hand side of the map, it is Cham. sounds like a fur ball or something like that.
Cham.
Like you ate a fur ball, yeah. And you
Yeah,
spit it
little-
out.
I'm sure Cham greatly appreciates that sentiment.
All right, so pretty standard opening once again from both players. Cham has not been particularly playing standard though. Throughout the series, he's been mixing it up and doing pretty cool stuff. So
Yeah,
has
I like
Special,
what I've been
especially
seeing.
to himself though. Yeah, Special has played weird too, hasn't he?
Two pretty unusual builds in a row, right?
Mhm.
I mean, a battlecruiser rush into a 2-base bio all in, and then the double Reaper at home to push across into Banshee Hellion back into bio. Certainly not something that you see every day in StarCraft 2, Cats.
Yeah, absolutely not. And yeah, I feel for Cham. I mean, he has such a great defense against those Reapers, not overcommitting, spending the bare minimum in defense. And then he had such a great defense against the follow-up Reaper Hellbat attack with those roaches popping up that he decided, I'm going to lean in on this. But the Banshees were a little bit too strong on defense for Special. I feel like if he could go back in time, maybe if you're Cham, you just kind of saturate your third and chill for a little bit and take the big lead that you created for yourself, maybe.
Yeah, it's like a pretty common trap that a lot of players will fall into, right? Is you get the feeling where you're like, oh man, I can just go kill him. I can just go finish the game. And then the words of Artosis echo in your head. It's like, bro, you're pretty far ahead. Why don't you just like get more ahead? You know what I mean? Why are you going to throw the kitchen sink at a guy that hardly has anything because you deflected his initial thing so much, right? You know, the opportunity to really like just crank out a ton of drones after that is definitely very real. And ends up being a minor mismatch. I don't know if he thought that it was like going to be a mech follow-up to this. Oh, is that Reaper going to get a drone? Nice.
Oh, very
Ugh,
nice.
And it lives,
Will
too.
survive. You know what? In Cham's position, I would have done the same thing he did 10 out of 10 times, especially if you do feel like you're the underdog and you're getting away with robbery to some degree. If you win this one, right, it's a huge upset, I think.
Oh,
And,
yeah.
and I think that from that stance, if you think Special is the greater player, sometimes you want to capitalize on a lead like that, and retrospectively, it's so easy to be like, oh yeah, like yeah, sure, Cats, maybe I should have sat back, but really, I mean, I can't blame him just trying to end the game when he has such a good position.
There's a lot of different ways to approach it, right? There's so many different things, because there's a world where, the player that says that, oh yeah, I can just go kill him, right? Like there's probably a lot of moments on the ladder when you're not playing versus the absolute best of the best all the time, where that actually works, right? Like, yeah, no, I'm going to go across and kill him, bile down the tanks, queens kill the banshees because they're not really microed that well. And then boom, boom, you've got another map win, but it's never quite that simple at this level. And that's one of the reasons why Juanito has been dominating this tournament space for such an incredibly long amount of time.
Yes, indeed. I mean, that Banshee surviving against the Biles, like a single Bile could make the difference. It's that extra micro in the Banshee that will like saving each and every unit when it matters, and having the Banshees and the presence of mind to anticipate the roaches in the first place. I mean, Juan is something else, really. He's such a strong player, and I would not be surprised if he brings this back.
Yeah, so the lair is just a little bit close to finishing now. A couple of Hellions are left with these Marines, but two of them do get picked off by these Lings. I like that, Cham just kind of making a little grab. He's not going to dive too far in, wants to at least keep something on the other side of the map or have the potential to get that vision, while this Viking is going to come poke that poor Overlord. Now, the Lings went all the way back, but he moved the third command center out as soon as the Lings stepped away. I'm surprised he didn't leave anything at the third to check for that. Gets the Overlord, too. That's nice. Good supply block.
Yeah, those Lings could certainly still be out on the map, like you just pointed out. So would love to see a Special maybe somewhat more account for that. I don't think the Vikings spotted them running back either.
Yeah. Okay, there's the armory. So he's planning on using the Hellions with the Marines. I don't hate this. I really don't. Even when there's Hellbats, like if you're playing with the Marines, the goal is always for the Marines to be the ones that survive, right? So even if there's Banelings, if he has 4, 6 Hellbats, they have a lot more health than the Marines. So the Baneling detonations are going to be able to soak up quite a few of them. There may not be Marauders, but they are certainly still useful for this particular purpose. I like that he also had the Reaper on this tower so he could go directly out. And there are a lot of Zerglings being made. Baneling speed is not quite halfway done yet. So it's really going to come down to, I guess, his usage of the slow Banes, if he has any of them, because it's going to be a crazy
Cham's
number
already
of regulars.
morphing Banelings, so he smells something coming. He didn't see it yet, but he seems to know that there's something coming as he's making the 7 Banelings and additional units as well. Only Lings in production at this point. Now Cham morphing an additional 4 Banelings. These Banelings need to connect onto those Hellbats, but it's looking like a comfortable hold, to be quite honest. Or is
Most
it?
important thing, though, like I said, if he gets the Hellbat soaked, all the Baneling hits. There are a couple of more Banelings that are finishing. Speed is almost ready too. You have to keep in mind that there's a health buff right there, right? When the upgrade finishes, that's going to help those too. A couple of the Marines do get left on the low ground, but now he's got the high ground on this base. Special really trying to bully Cham with this double medevac push. And now with the Banelings on, he can get some work done.
Yeah, I mean, very, very little that Special gets done at the end of the day. That looked scary when the Queen falls and when there's like when Cham is basically or mostly out of Banelings, but just 5 Marines remaining, and the position will be kept. Special maybe considering a follow-up, but this time around he might be at least chased back by Muta if he chooses to commit.
Yeah, well, the Spire is done now. Now, the third base, of course, is something that he actually got this game. So he's not quite at the same level of risk or just kind of being grabbed. But that next move out is making its way over while a Ling and Baneling run by into position.
Cham is supply blocked. He would love to build 7 Muta right now. And he doesn't have any Overlords in production either.
Oh my God. Wow.
Yeah, this could actually
be
huge. Now 2 Overlords. I mean, some of this army will trade. It kind of almost wants to trade. Perhaps why we see this engagement out of creep is the fact that he needs some units to die for him to make some more. So the Widowmine will weird Champ. I'm not
4
sure.
4 Banelings got blown up by the Widowmine. That frees up half a supply, right?
Yeah. Nice.
I got you.
Yeah, you got me good. 8 Mutas on the way with also 2-2 being started on the side of Cham a little bit quicker than Special. The creep spread is not amazing for Cham on the left-hand side of the map, but he's also taking this weird 4th that we don't see very often.
Yeah, that's not really normal, is it? Huh? I guess it's only weird to me because he still isn't really spreading creep, or he hasn't been able to outside the third base. So the third base is still a good place to attack because the creep isn't being spread from that position. But maybe this has to do with the way that Cham wants to be aggressive. Like Special doesn't really know how to play versus this. Well, okay. The Widowmine gets a beautiful hit on those Mutas too. I mean, this is about as good of a position as I feel like you could be. You've got 2 armies moving out on both sides. The Zerg players kind of spread themselves in a very weird way where they can't focus the defense into one central location. And as cool as it is to see Cham do this, I do question it a little bit.
Yeah, there's no neutral position where the army can sit. I think you're so good on pointing that out, Nate. And now Special is gonna hit at 2 separate, complete opposite fronts. Actually, just bypassing the space and going potentially into the.
I don't know. I would have liked a few Marines at that outside force. But that's okay.
Yeah, he's gonna go straight into the main. I mean, the army is still well off position for this, so maybe Special can find something nice there. Cham venturing off of creep, so this could be where he finds his own danger. Special getting the Widowmine upgrade to Burrow, so he is favoring. He listened to us, Nate. He's favoring the Widowmines against the Mutaling Bane as opposed to tanks.
I like it.
Love it.
Yeah, absolutely love to see it. We have not. I really rarely see tanks be that useful versus Zerg unless you get to those weird siege spots, right? The special ones. But the Banelings get a lot of really good hits anyway. Just a few too many Banelings from the punch through. And that Mutalisk count actually deals with the bio at the third base. So Cham, he wrests control of the game back into his arms. That Burrowed Widowmine, that gives me a little bit of anxiety, cats. I won't lie. Yeah, that's right there.
It's so good. It's so good to even just have Burrowed Widowmines like at random locations or at places where, you know, it's going to give you a little bit of information. It's a great scout, but yeah, Cham catching wind of this one at least. It will be taken down or at least dealt with.
I'm sure he'd love to throw those Banelings into a finished planetary fortress. Almost, it's better that the base wasn't.
Big mine. Big mine. Those 7 of the series as well, though.
It's a minor oof.
Okay, so yeah, weird game. I feel like that engagement at either place could have gone a lot better from Cham, but especially where the bio was situated in this base, I feel like a little bit better splits would have been amazing. At the same time, Special is trying to do everything that he can to be as annoying as possible. All of these mines will need revealing. There are no way to, you know, there's no overseers or any way of sensing
God.
them like spores in any base.
I can't believe we're seeing this. I mean, mine drops versus Zerg, I think, generally frowned upon because you can usually turn the target drone into like a spore or something, right? But when you're doing speed mine drops like that, that's I love to see it. It's just a very uncommon thing to have happen. And 17 drones later, Cham still needs to be building units because this big push is out here.
Wow,
He's got a Thor to anchor
mines.
that spot. Another, oh my God, he's up to 22. Those mines are going to all detonate again, looks like.
Oh, that's the drone spawn.
Oh,
Oh, never lucky on those drones.
that's a big,
But yeah, absolutely. Especially at this stage of the game, special identifying that there's no spores. And, you know, Cham would have to morph overseers or have spores in like 3 different bases. That's going to deny mining at least for a full cycle. And it complicates things and it makes it so much more difficult. I really love that move by Special, making use of the units that he wants to make anyway.
yeah. These Banelings are a little bit separated from the army, so he's going to pull the Marines back towards the left side. Banelings on that move command, though, to trail through. He does have a Widow Mine to retreat to. At the same time, he's pushing the west and east side base.
Nice.
Excuse me. Got a Widow Mine planted over there. He's going to be able to pick off this hatchery. The drones are on the run. Does look like he's cleaning up what was in the northwest, but as he morphs all these Banelings, man, I'm waiting for one of these random mines. Widow Mines are so good, cats. I'm glad we both agree on that. Widow Mines are
they are
freaking
amazing.
awesome.
Especially against Mutilating Bane, they're all units that clump up like exactly like this. So yeah, I mean, and even if they didn't get the shots, the Zerg has to be so wary of where they're moving, and that kind of makes it so that you have to pay attention at more fronts. And I mean, that's already a challenge. We're playing StarCraft 2 for anyone that's not aware, you know. You have to be looking everywhere. So add more places to everywhere, that's a problem.
Yeah, this is it gets progressively more difficult too, right? Especially because I think he's done a good job of picking off the overseers. I haven't really seen a tremendous amount. Did he get Overlord speed? That might be the reason why this is so awkward. Is his overseers might just be moving slowly too. Yeah, they can't keep up. They actually can't keep up with the army that's trying to run around the map.
Medevac count is very low though. I only see 2 with this army, and the army is already stimmed. So Special is being a little bit overzealous, I feel like, but okay.
No, he really overstimmed. He really overstimmed, though. No, you make a great point. But Cham does tap out. Special able to pick up the win regardless. Really good usage of the Widow Mines, cats, I think, is the big story of this game. He had some phenomenal shots with those. And his multi-prong aggression was great, too. Get the double drop in the main while he's pushing on the east side with the bio. I think this is a classic weakness of this type of strategy, just because, and by strategy, I mean where he took that base. If he had taken the northwest base earlier, if you secure that, that also covers the drop path that the Terran takes in that situation, right? If you have a spore or 2 at that base or queens, you're going to see the drop. It's not going to be able to get into your main base like that. And Cham kind of opened the door a little bit there for Special. And yeah, I think that's why you don't really see that base taken as the 4th, right?
Yeah, definitely not. I mean, if you want to take that base as the 3rd, then you have to expand in that direction, right? Like the idea is to have bases that you can easily defend, especially with Mutilating Bane. Muta can fly around triangles, around bases that are contained within the same space. But when you spread out the bases to the extremes, then they're really abusable. And Special, I mean, he's a seasoned veteran. This is not a move that's new to him, right? He sees, oh, okay, well, I guess I'm just going to split my army in 2 and see what you can do. And yeah, that was great play from him on that front, and with the Widow Mines tactically, I thought that was yeah, brilliant.
Yeah, super well done. And after Eternal Empire comes Golden Wall. Of course, there's just not vetoes in this best of 7 because there's 7 maps. So the order is, I don't know. How much do you think the order matters? Unless you get like 4 broken maps in a row to get the easy 4-0, like, you're always going to have that opportunity to probably play one map that you feel comfortable on regardless.
Yeah.
Or I guess the one win that Cham got, actually, never mind, the free point. That's the map. That's the one map that's technically a veto, right, for this.
Oh, yeah, very good point. I wonder what map we are skipping, because it wasn't Submarine or Golden Wall, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. I wasn't paying attention to it because I was making my stupid rant about how we don't skip any maps, even though we did. So,
all right.
I got you.
Well, this man is very special. This man is very Cham.
I like that. That's a good intro, cats. One of my favorites. Absolutely one of my favorites. We're back on Golden Wall. We've had some nice chats about this map today. I wonder if Special's going to bring out something weird here, because he's played a largely unorthodox series for the most part, right? Outside of that very last game, and even then, he still had some pretty sharp attacks that he was bringing with that early Hellbat Marine timing. If I have to give Cham credit for anything, though, he's done a really good job of getting his Banelings out on time. Like those have largely been on point, even if Special is still able to claw out the dub at the end of the day.
Yeah, absolutely. And that is the thing about Cham. While he is a player that prefers iteration and kind of like doing the same builds over and over, he has his own builds all the time, his own approach all the time. So on this map earlier, Nate, we were talking about 2-base Muta. I don't know if we're going to see that from Cham. I don't know if that's in his wheelhouse, just because he's the type of player that will try to separate from other players also by playstyle.
Yeah. Man, oh man, oh man, oh man. This has been a pretty exciting series. I keep every game that starts, I keep thinking to myself, I'm like, well, what weird is going to happen here? Like, don't try to make any predictions. Don't try to go too deep on it. Maybe this is the map where Special busts out a double battlecruiser rush or something crazy. You know, you've got that pretty quick, I guess largely quick direct air path to the other player's base. Not that hard to run away, which kind of leans into the discussion about whether we see the quick spire. And if that's what sounds good, then maybe Special just goes for another Hellbat Marine attack.
Yeah, that could be really cool. On the side of Cham, I think Muta still have to be the strongest possibility, but I'm not even sure. I think for Terran in particular, I like this map in the early to mid game. When you take that gold base, I think that you can do a lot in staging like 3 base attacks, and we see the extra command center being added, but it's actually in the back. I'm not sure that it's going to be flying to the goal.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I feel like we just really haven't seen enough of that, but I kind of like it. I mean, you could take the goal from the other side too. You could always go crazy. You could always go wild. Just batten down the hatches in front of your natural. I don't know.
Yeah, then you
I guess
really
Muta's
have...
come out eventually.
He's mining the back? Oh, no. That's not an SCV mining. Okay.
I'm just dreaming, Cass. It's okay.
Yeah, there is
Don't
a
mind
starport, and I do like the BC idea as well on the basis that this is relatively easy to defend, like 2 bases. That's also part of why Mutas are strong on this map, right? Like there's very little that you can do to poke at the first 2 bases, and that's kind of like the weakness oftentimes of battle cruisers is the all-in potential. I think all-ins are kind of weak on this map.
He's only just now getting his next command center, or his next gas, by the way. He's only just now getting his second gas. Wow. So I don't think he can afford it. Yeah, he didn't even get a fusion core. This infestation pit, though, is he? You think he's just going to knight a swarm host rush him?
Yeah, that's it. There's nothing else that this could be, I think. So,
what do you even do against this if you don't mine out your back patch?
Against,
it's going to be hard to defend.
Yeah, it's going to be the snowball effect, right? This is the thing. The thing about this particular strategy is that it's so very difficult to pull off a Zerg, because by the time you get enough swarm hosts to actually make a difference, it's difficult. At the same time, I can see it off of 2 base maybe, and having cut mostly every unit. Cham, that, you know, he made 2 Zerglings, no Zergling speed, so maybe, I mean, he's making 6. That's kind of scary, actually. That's cool. Yeah,
this is a cool thing to do on this map.
Yeah.
You know, this is one of the reasons why I think Golden Wall is I won't say that it's easy to play. Oh, he sees it. He has to see the worm, right? He has to see the worm. He sees the swarm host for sure now.
Yeah, he starts at tank. So I was very curious to see what unit would start. It's a tank. I'm not sure that that's the best.
Swarm hosts are kind of like the hardest counter in the game to siege tanks, right?
Yeah. I would think you would want mostly bio, maybe mines again, right, against the locusts. I'm not sure.
I think it'd be better than tanks, at least. Yeah. Well, the first wave is going to come here, and I think if he wants to kill Stim, he gets that 100%. Go for Stim, then I'd probably maybe kill the starport. I don't know. Oh, get the reactor. That's fine too.
Yeah.
Locust. A lot of DPS. A lot of DPS.
Oh God. Oh geez.
Goodbye, barracks. Everybody say goodbye, barracks.
Yeah, you look at the HP bars of those locusts and you think surely they'll expire, but then they don't, and that wall is brilliant by Cham, who still gets away with basically making no unit.
That's so dirty. Well, he's dead, right? What is he gonna do?
I don't monstrous. Think it's so difficult.
Is he gonna switch into mech? Oh, he brought the queens. Oh no. Oh, the queens are here too.
And the Overlord survives. Insult to injury. Cham diligently waiting until he has enough locos to throw all at once as well, not taking any chances. This is nice. Bunker and a tank setup there. Well, maybe. Oh, okay. Cham is just gonna jump on both of the tanks.
Oh, he saved
will
one.
survive, though. Yeah. Oh, this is where we could start to see a dream. That was a very good hold of that wave.
Yeah, I don't want to see him just click on the command center again, or keep going for the production, because you don't want to cancel building units, right? That's the heart. That's at the heart of the weakness of Terran as a race. Is if you get on the production, everything's so hard because your units come right out of those buildings, unlike the others.
No!
That medevac! Oh no! Okay, well that's just depressing. All right, cats. Very excited about game number 6. Kappa Kipo Kapuka Pow. Goodbye. Oh, good save. Good save.
Cappuccino. What is? There's like a Mexican cappuccino. Oh my God.
Take that. That sounds delicious.
Yeah. Like I think there's like Mexican lattes and there's like Mexican style coffees that are really good. Either way, this is all Mexico. It's a party in the house if you are Cham, and not so much if you are Special, who is in Korea technically, so less Mexican than Cham right now.
I don't think I have the authority to speak on this issue, Paolo. I'm sorry. All I'm gonna say is that I love both of these players, and I could definitely go for a spicy margarita right now. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, hells yeah.
Not gonna lie. Hell yeah.
All right. Well, Cham is closing this one out and retaining the lead that he created in this series earlier. It seems like. I mean.
This is one of the most disgusting games I've cast in a long time. Not gonna lie, this makes me sick.
This was pretty brutal. And you know what, Nate? You know what would have been great? A double battle cruiser opener. I think that would have been.
Oh,
fantastic.
he actually would have been a default win.
Yeah.
Shame. Lucas, where's he flying? Where's he want to land? He says, "Oh, I want the tank. I want the tank." There you go.
Yeah,
GG, Cham. Ooh, goes to match point.
Beautiful. Beautiful strategy tailored for the map, made for Special. And Cham will go up 1 map in the series. A series that he has probably been thinking about, a series that he has been preparing in a way that Special maybe hasn't, right? Special had Kellasor in front this time around.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Oh, we're going to go to a quick break, ladies and gentlemen. When we return, the conclusion of Cham versus Special.
Sucio was a word used to describe Cham's play in the Twitch chat just as of recently, Nate. That means dirty. It was all
Ooh
as well.
Ooh.
This is so exciting. This is match point for Cham. It's not a thing that has happened in Latin American StarCraft in a very long time. And we are headed into Deathaura.
Well, Cats, when you drop 2 men into an arena to fight to the death for prize money and the pride of their country and their region, nothing is off limits. So,
And love, of course.
if I'm just saying, if his sword breaks your sword and there's sand on the ground, throw it. Ladies and gentlemen, spawning in the bottom right position as the red Terran player, he is Special.
And with an extractor trick that, in the top left-hand side of the map, it is from Exxon Cham. I did not get your metaphor analogy at all. I've been trying to wrap my head around it. Throw sand. You throw.
Oh, it's not a
you throw
metaphor.
sand.
No, if there's literally sand on the ground. I'm saying.
Oh, hell!
Because
yeah, you throw
because
the- you can.
fighting dirty is better than dying, Cats.
Oh,
that's the truth.
absolutely. Yeah,
That's the truth right there.
yeah. I mean, the only people that say fighting dirty are the losers, right?
Damn straight about that, Cats.
Mhm.
Damn straight. General reminder, please
Fighting-
never cheese me.
fighting
I will get
smart.
very upset.
Yeah. So yeah, Cham fighting smart is the way we'll rephrase that for all the people in Mexico. They're both representing Mexico. This is kind of anticlimactic in that sense.
Well,
You know
I mean,
that, but you know why Special really has a huge power when it comes to the South American scene. I believe in coincidences in life that are more than just coincidental, Nate. And do you know what Special's mom's name is?
what is Special's mom's name?
Guess.
Well, it's not Cham, is it?
No.
Okay,
It's
I really
actually-
don't know where you're trying to go with this.
It's Maru. How cool
Oh
is that?
God, come on, what the come on,
I'm
man.
I'm not even kidding. It's like the coolest. So yeah, Special, I feel like he was always destined to be the Lord of South America in a certain sense.
That's incredible. That is
Indeed.
incredible.
All right. Shout out to her. She's cool. And
Hell
we
yeah.
have the drone tucks himself.
Ooh.
Nice. Okay. Pretty standard stuff. Nothing out of the ordinary so far from either player, it looks like.
Yeah.
Seems like
regular
the
Reaper
trend.
expand. Zerg's getting the third pretty quick. I guess the only real question, the next thing that we ask ourselves, right, is when that layer is going to start. And then what is the Terran going to do when the starport is done? Are we going to have a fusion core? Are we going to have just a Viking? Maybe a little Hellion medevac? Who knows?
Yep, that is the question in everyone's mind right now. It is going to be a 1-1-1 opening. What is going to come out of it? For now, just the standard Hellions. And I think this is good from Special taking a fast third. He's kind of reverting back to his comfort zone, I feel like, and not trying anything too funky. This is a pretty good Terran map as well. I think one of the maybe better Terran maps in the map pool, or is that unfair to say? Maybe not.
I won't disagree with you. I mean, I think Terrans are happy on maps where the third is a bit easier to get because you have some of the slowest units, right? In terms of trying to bounce between if you're getting harassed or something like that. So yeah, no, I tend to agree. I like Deathaura a lot versus Zerg. I mean, I obviously am a mech player, but
Yeah.
Special can do mech too. So not that he's going to this game, but it wouldn't be the worst possible choice that he could make.
All right. Well, let's see then. It's gonna be a game for sure. So it sounds, Nate, like you think that most people would favor Zerg here then, or it's about even, right? It's not really a clear cut advantage
think
from
it's
Terran
even.
in any case, especially if
Well,
they're not
I
mech
definitely
units.
think it's even. Like there are some really cool things that Zerg can do
Oh.
to punish mech on this map. These Hellions, get grabbed on the ramp. Gotta be careful with those ramps.
Speed zones coming in.
Zoom.
Nothing. They both
And the
sped
lings
up.
go fast too, so you're like, okay. There you go. Yeah, but I mean, dude, if Terran tries to turtle on this map, though, one of the smartest things I see a lot of Zergs do is to just go straight for the gold geyser base. Just put 3 drones on it, and then they're like, all right, now you have fun with the mutas or swarm hosts or whatever I want to do. Like, I think one of the nice things about maps that have exposed bases with extra resources is it's a great mechanic for punishing turtling players. So, because you can't really get those bases if you're playing a turtle style unless the game's really long. But, you know, you can't exactly punish if the other player goes for it early either if you're doing a turtle build.
I see what you're saying. That's pretty cool. Yeah. So abuse those extra rich Vespin geysers would be a good way to go about that. This Liberator did get some damage. Has to be careful not to die in the process. Only 3 drones end up being picked up, but that's better than nothing. At the same time, an opening for the Hellions into that natural. The drones already being evacuated. Very nice job by Cham.
They're lining up, buddy. Oh, he's got 11 drone kills. Well, I'll tell you what, cats. All I had today was a protein bar, but I will take a drone barbecue as well. That is a tasty burger. That's the only thing I can say to that. One of those queens is pretty low too. Don't know if he's gonna try and go for another poke there, but 25 drone kills. Okay, well,
That was.
you know what the nice thing is though? I got good news, cats. I got good news.
Game 7? Is that good news?
I was gonna say, Special's going mech, right? A little bit harder to close games out when you get ahead early with mech. So, you know, I think that there's, if he was going for a bio push, like a marine push was gonna come in a minute, then I think Cham's probably dead. But because he's going for mech, the units don't have quite the normal pushing power. It's gonna come down to pretty much just how good the Cyclone Hellion control is. And I do think that this gives a pretty solid opportunity for Cham to try to reset his footing in this game. Although Special is gonna probably be able to max out on a big mech army and go for a mega death push, probably before Cham has the hive tech that he wants, but we'll see. We'll see how he handles this. He's in an awkward spot, to say the least.
Absolutely, yeah, and important to point out too that it is because he is going mech that he is as adventurous as he is, and why he has such a high Hellion count, right? Because he's gonna end up replacing that now. He knows about that spore; it hasn't been moved. He has to be a little bit more careful with his Liberator, but still finding openings to try and apply extra pressure is Special. Even focus firing that extra drone, getting 5 for his efforts. Very nice.
Yeah, that's really good considering how many workers he's already picked off. Cham hasn't really been able to invest his larva into anything other than, well, replacing those drones. And now he's going to get some lings, but we're going to have Blue Flame Hellions. We're going to have Cyclones. He's getting 2 Swarm Hosts. Okay, I was going to say tell me those are on accident, but no, he's going to go for Nidus Swarm Host again.
Yeah.
And I think it's a little bit trickier to pull that off on this map if Special has good map awareness and vision.
Yeah, I think he maybe was hoping that Special would go into very traditional mech with tanks and Thors or something of the sort, units that he can maybe pick off easily. But given what Special is doing, I don't think the Swarm Hosts are going to be very good on defense. This army can easily kite those Locusts. Hellbats are also pretty good, and Blue Flame Hellion in particular is one of the hardest counters, I think, to Locusts, if there is one. So Special in a prime position to deal with this time around. And look at that, defensive Locusts. You never want to see it.
No, you absolutely don't. And he does have the Nidus network ready to go, but is there a worm even building anywhere on the map? I'm not sure that I even see any opportunity for him to try and get into that position. The Lings are trying to cross, but he's actually got some Hellions and Cyclones kind of patrolling around looking for wherever that worm might be. He isn't going to see it on the left just yet, but as long as he goes back out, he should be able to spot this and shut it down easily.
Yeah, I mean, you could even let the Swarm Host out, and it wouldn't be the worst, because those Swarm Hosts would have to use their Locusts right there on that spot, which is pretty far away. They will expire by the time they reach a position where they can actually threaten buildings or SCVs of Special. So really, really well done by him this game.
Yeah, I don't really see a way I mean, yeah, I don't. This is the best thing that Special could have had versus Swarm Host too, because you know, if you have a lot of tanks, if you're trying to go something defensive, then the Swarm Hosts are obviously really good. But because Special did so much damage early on, he didn't really need to build anything defensive, right? So then the Swarm was like, oh, I'm gonna Nidus Swarm Host you. He's like, good, I built the most fast units that I can with mech, and that gives me what I need to actually do something here. And he needs to be careful, because if these Locusts like pop on this one Marine or something, like that's a couple units that are going to be removed. He's got the Overseer there, excuse me, the Widowmine there.
Yeah, I feel like that Nidus that Cham just made, it actually accomplished absolutely nothing.
Yeah, no.
I mean, the Swarm host moved there, but the Roaches are going to catch up with them. The Roaches did not use the Nidus, so it's funny. The Nidus is basically connecting his creep with this huge attack. This is all that Cham is looking for, is to try and end the game very, very soon. And if it is unsuccessful, I can't imagine he'll stick around.
Yeah, he's trying to drop some zoning biles on the Hellion Cyclone, but he cannot even get the cancel on that command center. It had so many hit points already finished on it. It's just so difficult to actually get into the position that you need to be in to do something with this type of army. I'd like to see him start a worm on the left side now that he's got the Roach Ravager there, and that's good. If he can smite down the 4th base, I think that would also be a fantastic pickup.
Okay.
But as long as the command centers are alive, it's not like Special's really taken a tremendous amount of damage yet.
Yeah, Cham hasn't lost his army yet, though. And you know, Special's army is very frail as well. Any misstep could actually let Cham back into this game. Let's see if he can prepare a good flank with his Locusts to try and sandwich some of this Terran army. The Hellions are so very strong, though.
Yeah, that's the hard part, too, is he wanted to get onto where those siege tanks are, but there's really only one over here. So he lands on the Cyclones. Siege tank splash does something. All right, Bailey's gonna hit a few more. Does he actually not have enough to defend against this? The Cyclones are really riding the struggle bus against this type of army. There's so many SCVs over here getting picked off by the Roaches and Ravagers. That one siege tank behind the wall does get sniped. Now, the SCVs are actually blocking the Ravagers' pathing. The thing about Ravagers, they're very big units size-wise. A lot of SCVs can attack them at one time, but this was actually not the worst thing that could have happened for Cham.
Yeah, that was absurdly close, I want to say. I mean, these guys are also still available to drop some more Locusts, and will continue. The Knight is 4th. Special is being forced to try and expand at the north. That's nice, I guess, but yeah, Cham is kind of sticking around somehow.
Oh, the Locust
Very
getting
weird
siege
to watch.
tank outside the natural. These guys are going to head over towards the 3rd base. A few SCVs get picked off, a Hellion or two, and suddenly it feels like Cham is starting to wrest a little bit of control over this game again. And
he is now on 5th base. Creep's not looking too bad. He has retained most of his army throughout all of this. So I still like Special's position a little bit better, but this is not unwinnable for Cham. I thought he was all in, to be completely honest.
No,
and he ended up just keeping his army and saying, you know what, I can still fight from this position, just denying the 4th. And it's apparent that that's the case.
I like the Banshee play by Special. He's getting the Hyperflight Rotors upgrade so that they move super fast, and he can try to use those to zone away Nidus Swarms, and especially the Swarm hosts themselves, of course, if it comes to it. Gets 2 Cyclones there for that Locust Wave. Not bad at all. And I don't know if Cham realizes this, but you might want to try to hit a Nidus in the northeast. So that one is way too in his space. But that northeast expansion is actually set up. I don't know if he scouted that. Did the Roach see it?
Not
No,
yet,
okay.
Now Hydras are being added on the side of Cham to try and deal with these Banshees, but they are gonna be super annoying as they increase in numbers. And yeah, they basically countered the entire army of Cham, so realizing that drops a very quick... Okay, this actually is insane. If Special can pick off this base, he will retain a very, very hefty economical lead. It looks like he's gonna be able to.
Great grab there. Absolutely fantastic. He even killed some of the Hydralisks as they were finishing over there. And he's going to drop a Locust Wave towards that southern expansion once more. I almost wish he wouldn't turn it into a planetary fortress. Okay, well, if they're going to land on the refinery, that makes it a little easier to defend too. But turning it into the planetary does make it pretty hard sometimes to save versus the Locust. Yeah, I don't know why he landed on the refinery. I think if he had not given him the notice by landing on the other building, he might have been able to kill that planetary. Well, he does know about the northeast one now. Oh man, what a game.
Kind of nuts. Yeah, if that planetary goes down, the things are kind of reset. As it stands, I still have to favor Special. There are no Vipers out yet for Cham. That is the unit that he's going to need to destabilize the army of Special on offense, right? Where he can start getting those pickoffs onto some of these very expensive key units from the Terran.
Yeah, the Hydras are kind of moving around that southern side. There is one tank with the army. He's just going to turn into Hellbats, everything right here in front of that Nidus network. And that wave of Locust, we talk about it. Defensively, you don't really want to use it because it only lasts so long. But the Hydralisk flank did end up killing a good amount of the mechs. Somehow the supply is still quite close. However, there's a good amount of Roaches, and as we all know, Swarm is incredibly supply thick.
Oh no, Overseer. Cham trying to fake it, trying to drive the Banshees away. Now the Overseer pops and the Banshees will be dealt with. Special has to be a little bit careful now.
Yeah, it looked like he wanted to try to take the fight there and then recognize that it wouldn't be quite that simple. But there's another tank coming over to anchor. Actually, 2 siege tanks with this. A blinding cloud's going to get dropped, though. That's going to neutralize the tank. Really good catch there, actually. And the Hydralisk with the rest of the support.
This is so close.
Oh my god, that one Banshee too, though. Oof.
Oh my god, that Banshee barely surviving. There's the Hydra reinforcement. The literal 1 Hydra reinforcement does the job. This is so close, but Cham, wow, going to be forced to tap out on the bases that, you know, after losing that base, he just doesn't have the economy to contest with that endlessly. And Special,
that was an incredible game.
Series. Wow.
That was a wild game. I really thought that Cham was just gonna fold whenever the next push, whatever it would ended up being from Special came, just because of how many drones he lost. Like if you guys
like 27, though, I don't quite
remember. It was like 27 drones between
the
the Liberator and the Hellions. Like he lost an insane amount of workers before he had any tech set up, and then tried to use the Nidus Swarm host to bring it back. It was really cute. I think if he had been able to get any of those early worms up, this would have been a much different game, but that's also a credit to Special. He recognized the biggest weakness of his play, and he's like, if I have my Hellions and Cyclones on patrol outside all the edges of my base, I will be able to find the worms, and he did. So great job.
Yeah, great job indeed. But at the same time, I mean, the fact that Cham made a game out of this in spite of all these factors again.
Legendary.
Wow. It really is. It really is looking like Special has found a worthy opponent for the South American throne finally, because I don't know who's gonna win this next game at all. And it's actually Pillars of Gold. That's a Cirque map, Nate.
Yes, that's a very good map for ZVT. Just that third base is so exposed. Both of the options are very, very, very exposed. Lots of wide angles for Ling run bys, counterattacks, and hell, if he wants to do his Nidus Swarm host for whatever reason, again, if it somehow ends up being a thing in Special tries mech, then you've got a great way to launch Locust to the main base on that map too.
Well, we are getting loaded up. It is the final game of the South American portion of DreamHack Masters. This is the finals. This is for the crown of Mexico and Latin America. And this, in the top right-hand side of the map, has the red Terran player. It is Special.
And his opponent in the Southwest, the blue Zerg player representing Exxon, he is Cham.
Being an extremely impressive series and tournament. Hatch first. The openers have not been weird throughout the series. I don't expect that they will be for this final game, as we are seeing the most standard ways to approach the very early game here.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Man, it's been a long day. Been a long day at casting StarCraft. I've had a ton of fun. It's always fun to be commentating some video games with you, Paolo. I think we did okay today. We had some really good games. Made it fun. Made it a lot of fun. A lot of fun casts. A lot of fun matchups. A lot of fun variety too. Like we saw people break out all sorts of different stuff, right? We had everything from the TVT series was like wild, right? With Special and Kellizer, but all the other games were actually pretty good too. Not too many bops, really.
Both of the TVTs were very good. Yeah, all of the games have been very, very nice today, actually. And this series has not been the exception. In fact, it is perhaps the closest one of them all to determine the South American champion in the classic TVC matchup. How fitting, Nate.
How fitting. How fitting indeed. Now, it's not all doom and gloom, though, from the pre-match analysis here on this map. There's some really good positions to push through and on for Terran players. Pretty classic spot is below the main base on this map, actually. You can kind of zone it. It's kind of a direct path, actually, to go to if you can make it over there. Creep spread won't always be there. Depends kind of what third the Zerg wants to take. That base in particular, Terran, is usually quite exposed. There's quite a wide ring around it. You got the drone kill too, though, Cats. That's also really nice. It's not very common to see that happen these days, but that's a little bit of that flashy micro coming out of Special.
Oomph, the oomph. Yeah, he's gonna get a drone looking for a link as well. Oh, almost grenades himself out of there. That's the next level play potentially. But yeah, Special has to be pretty happy with this drone poke. Maybe the things that you need to start equalizing the disadvantage, the inherent disadvantage of playing against Zerg on this map. At the same time, he is the favorite player. Honestly, I don't know. If I had to put odds on it, I would say something like 55-45 or 50-40 or 50-50. 60-40, nah. 50-50.
Nah. It's close. It's close. It's been a good series. It really has been. And it feels like Special hasn't been super comfortable with the idea of doing the most basic standard builds either. We are going to see that battlecruiser rush, it looks like, on this map.
Ooh.
So Fusion Core booting up, SCVs, building, Hellions galore. What more?
We're back in your dream.
Yeah, we're back in my dream now. Well, you got to see a second starport, but he doesn't have a gas in the natural, so that's not really possible strategy. The fake
Cham will get a scout. Yeah, and it's been Banshees twice in a row, but it looks like Cham will venture far enough to see the Fusion Core finishing as well. So knowing that, Special cancels the Banshee, the surprise is ruined. Will Cham be able to deal with it accurately or aptly, though? We didn't see that from him last time. He lost something like 11 workers, if I recall correctly.
Oh yeah, that BC put in work. Because he hasn't, I mean, he's abusing the fact that Cham hasn't been rushing lair, really, right? Like, if you're not going for the fastest lair in the world, the battlecruiser is always going to be a good play, assuming you don't die to roaches. But since the roach warren isn't done yet and the battlecruiser's already in production, I'm not really feeling too scared for him. I do think there will still be an opportunity when Special tries to get the third base, depending on how much damage this battlecruiser does, because the third on this map is just very hard to situate, right? There's just it's not, you can't just wall it off. You can't just wall this third off. You can't just wall the other one off. There's a lot of ground to cover. It's nice for the Hellions poking here, but he doesn't want to risk them either.
Yeah, Yamato is being researched, so more than one battlecruiser in the plans. Where would you teleport your first BC? Nate, there's not as much
North main.
airspace
North
behind.
main.
Okay.
North main, like on top of that gas. So what I would do is I would guess that there'd be a spore in the middle of the mineral line. But if you teleport like right on that Vespine geyser, you could like shift queue a hold position and then not have to look at it for a second. Your BC will at least get the drones there, but it's the only base he could jump to that has dead air if he wants to run from the queens, right?
Yeah, that's the thing. Is on the previous map he had the dead air between the two bases. This time around he doesn't, so he's gonna go to one of the edges, but not the north one. At the north he would have killed an overlord as well for free. Instead teleports into a spore, which is a little bit reckless, quite honestly, knowing that his BC had already been scouted. The Hellions trying to go and make up for that, though, already with 5 worker skill.
Okay, I like this. So he wanted to go for the alley-oop was his plan the whole time. So that BC really didn't do a tremendous amount. It did pull the queens, though, and then the Hellions were able to get 10 drones, which is pretty good. I'm not going to complain about that. He's cranking out more drones to replace them. Factories are on the way. Infestation pit cats has been a spirit animal in this series for Cham.
Yeah, Hellions have been lost though, so that's damage, but also the Hellions die, and with that map control and the possibilities for Cham to continue to spread his creep and do his thing, so he will redrone. It's not nearly as bad a position as the one that he recovered from earlier.
Yeah, if I was to say how this matches up though, with the infestation pit, like, is he just going to try to build Swarmhost and get another Nidus network? Because, like, battlecruisers are pretty well tuned to deal with that, right?
Oh, no.
These Hellions are the most YOLO I've seen.
Oh!
It's actually going to pay off. The drones get pulled to fight, and that's not good. 6 of them barbecued again.
Yeah, through a choke as well. I mean, if you do 1 or 2 to block that choke, sure, but 6 is a lot to give up, and now 12, 6 more in the main falling.
Well, this is brutal. This is absolutely brutal. Did he see the infestation pit too? Does he have that information? I don't know. That's just, where did it even go? Okay, yeah, he definitely saw it. He went right through it. Okay. So there's 3 swarm hosts being built.
Yeah, there's mech again on the side of Special. This time around, it's not the mobile mech though. It's more tanks. And yeah, it's going to be more static mech, I suppose, if you had to call it something.
Yeah, a little bit
worse,
more
right? Against swarm hosts, or I don't know. I'm scared. I hate mech against swarm hosts. It's just sometimes it can seem like a slow death. I like the cyclones because they could keep the swarm host out and in check. But with tanks, I hope that Special can find his way out onto the map to prevent Cham from just sieging him forever.
Yeah, well, if he kills all of the queens here with these battle cruisers, I'm not sure it's going to matter. The Swarm Host did it. He doesn't actually have a Nidus.
Oh, wow.
So the only thing that the Swarm Host can do is just try to run across the map. But this battle cruiser may end up killing every single queen.
Wow. And this is, oh my god.
Yeah.
At some point during that, Cham had to say, okay, I need to retreat back to my spores. And he didn't. I guess that's just a heavy misjudgment, and Special knowing his StarCraft well enough to know that he could stick around as long as he does to punish all of the queens. And now these battle cruisers are uncontested, but I don't think he has spotted these Swarm Hosts though.
That's unfortunate. If I thought he was bringing all the BCs home to defend against this.
Yeah.
Cancel the building command center, run the SCVs away.
Oh man,
everything's gonna die anyway. There you go. And I mean, well, the battle cruiser should still just win this game, though, right? The Spire's halfway done. He's nothing to do with this.
That was 20 SCVs. That was 20. Yeah, sure. There is not much. Yeah, you're right. I mean, there's three battle cruisers uncontested is the thing, right?
Yeah, this doesn't. I'm just like, how does even? What does he do? What is he gonna do? He doesn't have that much money. He could build like 4 or 5 corruptors maybe right now. Corruptors aren't cheap. He's not floating.
He's actually not mining the third, and is behind in workers in spite of killing just 20.
Wow, really threading the needle on that BC, by the way. But don't worry, there's more.
Yeah, more indeed. There's one more in production as well, and I love that Special identifies that this is his win condition right now and is leaning heavily on it, especially with that Yamato. 3 more queens will be deleted promptly.
Yeah, at this point, without transfuse support, battle cruisers aren't that scared of spores. They will be a little bit scared of the corruptors, but I mean, as long as he keeps that third situated, I don't know. I feel like he could have killed more of the Swarm Hosts. The only thing that makes me nervous, I don't know what's actually at that third, but for some weird reason, my like throw senses are tingling here. But there's a possibility that Special screws this up because, yeah, look, there's not really anything here to protect the space again. He's gonna teleport the BCs in now, but he gets that tank on the high ground. This could get awkward.
Yeah, Cham is trying his hardest. I mean, he's controlling the Locust waves well and picking his targets well, but he just doesn't have a huge variety to choose from. Now, here's the Corruptors. I don't know, is there Yamato available yet? Not yet, right?
It shouldn't be off cooldown, but maybe like 15 seconds would be my
one
guess.
of them is, it looks like just one.
The lack of turrets here is massive too, because the only thing he can really do is mass repair. I guess the fresh BC was the one at front.
Oh, that BC should have died. But the rest of the Corruptors not really following through. Here's the next wave of Locusts. The tanks are on siege. But there's not enough meat to punch through from Cham.
Queens here,
oh, God.
I just think he's lost too much. Now he can't retreat with the queens here. No. I think this is you hit the F2 key, you A move, and then you kick back. Go grab a drink or something. 20 queens died this game. There you go.
Jesus. Oh, my God.
That could be the name of your band. Name of your band or your album. 20 queens
died today.
I don't know that you need to. I mean, well, I'm always I'm a less is more kind of guy, Cats. I don't know if you've seen how tall I stand, but I think 20 queens is a great. And there you go. That's your name right there. The less information, the better.
All right. Here is 4 battle cruisers. Also could be the name of a band. And yeah, they are pretty powerful, man. What are they going to do here? They're going to Yamato everything. They're going to teleport out. A Special is taking extra bases. This is.
What do you even do? You're going to build 20 Corruptors and then die to Cyclone Hellion? I don't know. The Roaches are going to get this 4th. Like, he's leveraging the map as best as he possibly can, but.
That's an important pick-off, right? Because he doesn't have a 4th of his own, and he really needs to secure one and continue preventing one from the side of Special. If Cham can get maxed and make some miracle engagements, it's still mech. You can still catch it off siege. You still have the Swarm Host to work with. The battle cruisers continue to be a great nuisance for him, though.
Yes, they do. Swarm Host, we like them for the ability to kind of chip away at the Terran, but if the BCs are at home, they're not going to struggle. And every time that he fights, right, there's going to be 5 Corruptors just instantly deleted. Right? They're what, 200 minerals and 100 gas, or is it 150?
Yeah, it's gonna be 6. Another battle cruiser being added, so half of the army of Corruptors, more or less, is gonna be taken out before the fight even starts. So you really wanna overkill against this number of BCs. Oh, the Biles, though, they could be huge. Some of them connect, but there's not that many, unfortunately. The remaining Corruptors are gonna kill one of the battle cruisers. Okay,
Really
that's
good
-2.
Biles.
Yeah.
Yeah, killing 2 BCs there for a handful of Corruptors is actually really nice. I thought he was just going to drop 6 Yamatos and teleport immediately away.
Same.
There's no reason to let the BCs fight air-to-air versus Corruptors. They don't do damage to them.
That is unless, of course, you are choking.
I suppose. That's what I was saying. I'm like, I don't know. For some reason, I feel like this game is going to end up being a lot closer than it felt like earlier. He gets a good poke on that west side base, though. The 4th denied once again. Very important for Special as he attempts to land his own 4th once more.
Yeah, I think Cham has been conditioning us throughout this series to believe in his comeback potential, right? Like, he has been so resilient with units that are normally thought of as very supply intensive, right? The units that don't scale up that well. But he has found really good openings.
Oh, yeah.
Special.
Look, the Corruptors aren't even anywhere near all the dots.
There's not even a
making their
spore.
way over to the 3rd.
Not even a single spore in that base. I mean, Cham is cutting the corners that he thinks he needs to cut, and I can't blame him for it. He's gonna get caught so far out of position this time, though.
I don't know what you do now. Yeah, there's just so much here.
Can he two-shot him? Okay, he can two-shot BCs. That's good because it makes it so that you at least kill 1 BC each time they try to do this, right? So it's a good number of Corruptors that he has, and I think that the BCs now start losing value. I would love to see something like a Greater Spire. A Hail Mary Broodlord switch would be kind of great if Special can forget to make Thors at some point.
Yeah, that is definitely one opportunity. I mean, the thing is, with this many Ravagers and the fact that he has Infestors, he really is just 1 or 2 fungals away from actually killing most of the Cyclone Hellion. And then if those die, then the battle cruisers cannot actually stand and fight against Corruptors. It just doesn't work. So it's very, very, very important. He's actually just going to push everything in right now. Locust Wave did land on the tanks, picked off a couple of them. Files are going to try to hit the rest, but there's a lot of missile turrets to help these BCs go toe-to-toe with the Corruptors. That's it. GG. Special takes it